my junior year of college, I did a dance program that allowed me to get an agent. And so my senior year of college, I was auditioning here and there, but only kind of short time span things because obviously I had school. So like I wasn't about to just pop on to like a tour or something long term. But I was doing little auditions here and there. And he's been begging me since this podcast started to come and tell the story. And in return, he said that I'm allowed to tell everyone that in high school I found his fleshlight.
Back to the story.
I was snooping. My sister also found it.
Oh my God.
And my little brother.
Oh
and
my
they
God.
told me at one dinner I found out like one by one.
All three of us.
Where were you hiding it?
It just
happened
on the
upon
pillow,
in
like
the
next
kitchen
to you.
table.
Gianmarco's fleshlight
I said it was a centerpiece.
in the early 2000s.
There were flowers in it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I said I would tell my story in exchange
Yeah.
for that one. So yes, I was a senior in college. I was in the library preparing for a midterm, and I got a call from my agents that there was like a very, very last minute audition for Lady Gaga on SNL.
Yes.
This was like one of the first auditions I had, and I decided I can't miss out on this. Who knows, maybe I'll be there for 5 minutes. I'll go to the audition, excuse me. And whenever I'm done, I'll head to my class. I had a presentation to do. And I go to the audition. I'm staying through rounds, through cuts, whatever. Emailing my teacher saying, like, I'm so sorry. I end up skipping my midterm completely.
Huge.
And
That's a huge deal.
yeah, miss a midterm, which I think she gave me like a C on to be nice. And I booked the job, which was like at the time the most exciting thing that had ever happened to me in
Tom
my
Hanks hosted.
entire
I remember
life.
this because we were rehearsing an Uncle Function show at the time, and I remember you being like, you telling us in real time, like, "Oh my God!"
And let me tell you, every member of the sketch team was so excited that you were going to be on SNL
Shut the
before any of
fuck
us.
up.
No, it was definitely a moment.
Yeah.
Like as a purely struggling actor, I wasn't like mad or anything, but it was just like, man, this is surreal.
Yeah.
this is fucking
Yeah.
surreal,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, I mean, same.
Yeah,
Like
What
it's
year is this? This is like,
she just talked about it on the thing.
2016, 17?
yeah.
I think 2016.
Yeah.
It was right. It was like just a few months maybe before I left New York. 2016-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like craziest thing that's ever happened to me. And I think it was 4 girls who had gotten hired for it. Yeah, I mean, dream come true in the moment. We had about a week of rehearsals. She came into rehearsals. She was absolutely lovely. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on the podcast. She really was, like, immediately came in, hugged all of us, like was so excited to work with us. We went and like teched at the stage at SNL, so I did get to go and practice on the
30
stage.
Rock.
Yeah.
And you know, basically watch her do like a private concert as we were doing our rehearsals.
Crazy.
Some of the toughest rehearsals to this day I've ever had in
Just
terms
tough
of
dance.
Yeah,
What
really.
songs were they?
Gosh, this is. We were doing a song. I think it was called. I honestly, I can't listen to it.
What is it? Tell me what it is. Oh my God.
No.
I think it's called Ayo, but I haven't listened to it in a
Ayo.
really long time.
Okay.
It's an older song, but regardless, I can't listen to it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So yes, we went through the week, super intense, super challenging. She was really, really great to work with. I will never change my stance on that. And then in addition to that, I made the really stupid decision to tell everyone in the world.
But hold up, but you waited until you signed the contract.
Right.
So she waited until she penned the paper.
Yeah.
Right.
You told everyone Friday.
Yes, I think it was like Thursday, Friday. I think Thursday we
The show
had
was Saturday.
Thursday we had the tech at SNL, and then Friday we had like one final rehearsal, and then obviously show was Saturday.
Yeah.
So I think it was maybe Thursday night. I mean, I told everyone.
Of course. Yeah.
My family, my friends, everyone I was dancing with at the time, like obviously my teachers.
The teachers,
Because I had to miss a week of classes.
Yeah.
I'm still in school, so I'm like skipping school
Yeah.
more or less to be there. I mean, just like sobbing of joy and excitement because it's one of those moments where you're like, this is everything I've trained for, everything I've worked for, and you're young and naive and you're, you know, 2021, and just like, I can't believe this is happening to me.
Yeah.
So we went through the week, and then I think it was Friday night. We had a certain schedule. Some things happened and had to get moved around, so we didn't really start rehearsing until quite late. We'll probably not go into like the details of, and to be fair, I don't know exactly what happened. A lot of it was conversations that happened not in the room that
Without you.
we were in.
Yeah.
But late in the evening,
On Friday.
Did you run it with tech? Did you run it with lights and stuff?
well, we teched it on the SNL
Oh,
stage.
you teched on the SNL
Yeah.
stage. Okay.
And then we had one more rehearsal Friday, and I guess the premise was the tech did not deliver what she was wanting creatively for the performance.
Uh-huh.
That's from my understanding. Of
Sure.
course, take that with a grain of salt. So Friday, we start rehearsing. Lots of things are changing. I think maybe around like 11:30, rehearsal stopped so that the creative team and her and other people involved in the production could kind of have a meeting outside of our rehearsal space. And we basically sat there for like 2.5 hours, kind of waiting to see what was happening.
Did you have an ill feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But they have to do the number. It's not like they're going to cut the number.
Sure. Well, so our choreographer came back in at, I think it was like 1:30, something like that, and basically said, again, from my memory, we have a lot of changes to make based on the size of the stage and XYZ other factors. We're only going to move forward with 2 of the dancers, 2 of the 4.
Brutal.
And so my opposite and I, which for those who don't know dance stuff, usually you're paired up with someone.
Yeah.
You mirror each other.
Did you
each
know
other's
that
opposite.
automatically that was going to be you and that
Or did
you
they,
and
how
other,
they tell it which 2
yeah,
it was?
Which 2?
I don't really remember. I don't know ultimately what the deciding factors were. And again, what was relayed to us, who knows if it was. We really don't know.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
bottom line.
Yeah.
Is we don't really know the reasons as to why everything was changing.
But they told you at what time?
It was like 1 something in the morning.
Oh man.
Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night. Well, Saturday morning, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I just remember I got the call from,
right,
from yeah.
Yeah, they told us, my opposite and I, we were released. And she, through our choreographer, sent her deepest apologies and said it wasn't personal and, wishing you the best and yada, yada. And of course, I was devastated.
Of course. Yeah.
And he was my first call. One,
Yeah.
because I knew you'd be awake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was one of those where first I saw it late at night, and so I'm like, oh my God, maybe met Tom
Something-
Hanks.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know
Oh.
right away it was bad. I assumed she's on set.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
then I
think he could
answered and she was
understand a
crying,
word.
and it was just like I knew immediately
Yeah.
it's not happening. What
Yeah.
happened?
And I think that was probably the worst part, was then having to tell everyone, never mind, like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to be on SNL.
Yeah.
And someone like you understand how these things happen, and but to the layman who doesn't work in entertainment, it's like, oh my God, they fired you, or like
Yeah.
it just
Yeah,
it seems
yeah.
a lot more like personal than I
Yeah.
think it was.
Yeah.
So it was so incredibly embarrassing to have to
Sure.
tell everyone, never mind, I'm not doing it, and to not really have a clear explanation as to why. So that was pretty mortifying. And I spent all day, I never watched it. I spent all day
course.
Saturday, sobbing in bed, just this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, all the dramatics. And to give myself some credit, I was part of a dance training program, and we would practice every Sunday for 3 hours. And I spent all day Saturday moping and feeling awful for myself. And then I woke up Saturday morning, and I think I showed up an hour late and stood in the back with my hood up. But
Yeah.
I still went because in my head I was like, well, what is there to do other
Yeah.
than to keep
Can you
fucking
imagine
trying?
can you imagine if the teacher at that class came in the back and said,
Oh
"Hey,
my
it's more
God.
crowded than we thought today. We're gonna have
Honestly,
to."
I probably would have jumped off a bridge.
That is the hard thing of being a performer, though. It's you start, especially when you get that close to something.
Yeah.
You start the fantasy, you start the thing, and then when it gets pulled away, you're like, oh, I guess I'll just do my whatever work, or like
Yeah.
it really is such a
What's
you
the
feel like you
alternative?
taste
kind of
it.
You
like-
quit? Like,
Yeah.
But there's also the pain of like in other professions, be like, well, you didn't get that, but maybe you can be here. It's like this was just a rocket
Yes.
rare
Yeah.
opportunity.
And then it's like
and then the
nothing.
people who danced with her,
Yeah.
they stayed with her too. What was it? They went to Japan.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
really?
Super Bowl
She
that
did Super
year.
Bowl the
it
next
was
year,
it was
yeah.
so fucking brutal.
Wow.
My mom called it the gift that kept on giving because for like the next year, every
Fucking mom.
That's nice. Yeah.
every performance
She's like, oh,
she
there's
had,
Thursday. You know, like she's like, good
Yeah.
for them. You know?
it was pretty brutal, but I also think I was so naive at the time and so green. And now that I've lived in LA, like that type of stuff happens all the time. There have been plenty of jobs that, whether it's myself or friends of mine, like we get hired, we start rehearsals, the job gets canceled, the dancers get cut,
Yeah.
the creative changes, the artist says, never mind, I like these dancers instead. I mean, I have friends who have been let go the day before they were supposed to leave for like a 3-month tour.
Yeah.
Like this stuff
Yeah.
happens all the time. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I, of course, was like crushed, and I was like, this is nothing this bad has ever happened to anyone else ever in the world. And, you know, once I moved out here and I realized kind of what it really looks like to have like a healthy relationship with rejection and auditioning and like, my skin thickened quite a bit. And now I have
Yeah.
a really good relationship, I think, where I used to be so crushed if things didn't work out. And now, it's so not personal, and it's so like, not to get woo woo, but I'm like, okay, that wasn't meant for me, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's changed quite a lot, but the best advice I was given when I moved out to LA was, someone said to me when I shared this story, as a dancer, you don't know if you have the job until you've already done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's tough because you want to be excited. You
Yeah.
want to tell your friends and family, but like until you have gotten off that stage and it's happened, you have no idea.
Yeah.
And that's a scary place to be.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.